Welcome to the video. I'm going to be testing out the Witcher 3 next gen update on my RTX 4090. Going to be doing it at 4K, so we've got that set here, 3840 by 2160. At first, I've got frame generation and DLSS off, so we're just testing 4K native, and then I'll switch those on in a little bit. Graphics-wise, we've got everything maxed out, so ray tracing is on, and then all the other settings are kind of at their max levels. Hairworks is on, we've got that here. And then all the other settings are set to Ultra Plus. So this is going to be the hardest, variation of this to run settings-wise, but it should be interesting to have a look. So let's see. Okay, so performance-wise here, looking like we're getting about 40 FPS. I thought it would be under 60. I can imagine maybe in some areas you can push a bit closer to 60, maybe more 50 to 60. But yeah, I mean, this game is stunning though. Graphics wise, but yeah, it looks like probably going to average between maybe 40 and 50 for the most part. Power on my GPUs looking, well, it's fairly high. 400 watts is quite high for my 4090. Normally you see it in and around kind of 350 in a lot of games, but obviously we're kind of pushing it to its limits here. I wouldn't be surprised if you sometimes see it go maybe almost 420 maybe in some areas on this game. But VRAM's actually not too bad. 10 gig, considering we've got ray tracing on. That maybe it creeps up a little bit as we play. It's hitting about 45 here. And although it's low FPS, it feels okay. Like the frame time, and there's no stuttering or anything like that. The frame time looks okay. I know when this next-gen update first came out, I had a lot of issues with the game. It used to stutter a lot. It seems like it's got a bit better since I last played. Let's have a look. I think there's some enemies here. Have a look at the combat. See if we that even in these really heavy, dense tree areas, down to even 35, 37 here. So yeah. You could expect in some areas to dip down. I'm not sure we go any lower than this. 35. We'll check out the city as well. Can't even see where I'm swinging my sword. Oh, damn. Right, so even in this city in Novigrad, I think it's probably going to be fairly similar to what we had outside. Doesn't look particularly worse. Still kind of 40 to 50. Have a little run around and see if it maybe stutters anymore, but seems like we probably hold up maybe a little bit better there. I know we were dipping to 35 in some areas outside. Don't know if there's any other really dense areas I can maybe check. But yeah, even my lows are still pretty good. VRAM has crept up a little bit. We're at about 12.5 now from kind of had about 10.5 before. But it doesn't feel too bad. Dipping down a little bit here, 38, 37, 35. There we go. So maybe in some areas you'll still see that kind of very similar range, but not really any different in the city to outdoors. Right, so I'm now going to take a look with frame generation on. So we're still at 4K. I've got frame generation switched on here. And then in graphics-wise, we've got everything maxed still, so ray tracing and everything's on. And we've got DLSS upscaling set to quality here. And then we've still got everything maxed, so everything's still Ultra Plus if we've got that here. So let's have a look at that. Right, so it should be quite a bit better than what we had natively. I think we had about 40 FPS average, didn't we? Roughly around there. Looks like we're getting around about 100. Dipping down a little bit here into the 90s, closer to 90, but probably looking at a rough average, maybe 95. Looks like my VRAM's up a little bit by about a gig or gig and a half. Normally frame generation, switching that on does cause that. Still getting this little bit of stuttering here though. That's my GPU power has come down a little bit too. No, we're nowhere near 400 now. Closer to 350 or under. But obviously a significant improvement in terms of frame rate. Just these lows though, like 0.1% low, still 15. So still getting those stutters, and even the GPU usage too is still fluctuating quite a bit. Getting it at 98% here, but then back there was about 92, so we're still getting dips Dips in that like we were at native. So like overall you'll get a lot higher frame rate, but in terms of the consistency of the frame time seems kind of fairly similar, even with DLSS on. Not noticing too much loss in quality either. It's fairly similar. If you compared side by side, you'd probably notice a little bit. It looks a little bit less sharp with DLSS on, but it's not massive. Like most people probably wouldn't really notice. And even latency as well is not really that bad. I'm on a controller, so I feel like you don't really notice it so much. Anyway, obviously we're about 40 FPS before, and they recommend to be at least 60. So, but I'm not noticing that at all. So pretty big improvement there. I'll try and check out. See if we check out Get Outside and check out some combat as well. I know in those dense kind of forest areas, it can drop your FPS quite a lot. So we'll see how it handles that. We've got that weird glitch in there in the distance on the trees. You see that? Got some sort of ghost creature here. Could probably check the combat with this. If I remember the controls. We need the magic trap. Get in the magic trap. Nice. So even still holds up frame rate pretty well, even during that combat. I feel like we get slightly less. It feels like we get less stuttering here compared to what we did in the city. I think like the lows are a little bit better. We had like 15.1% low in the city, where we've got 60, almost 60 here. Go and try and check out some kind of denser forest areas, see how much our frames drop. So we're actually getting into the 80s here, 84, mid 80s maybe. What about if we do some combat in this bit? Oh, down. Oh, this could end badly. I forget how you block. How do you block?
Come on, come closer.
Oh, damn. So yeah, it definitely feels a little bit smoother when you're out of the city.
That's it, Roach.
The frame time's a little bit more consistent and it doesn't drop so badly. So we saw lows of about 84, 83, 84, which I didn't notice in the city, but outside at least the frame times are a lot more consistent, so the lows won't be as bad. A 0.1% low at least. And you can see that here. Comparing in the city, it was 15, and here's, like I was saying before, 55, 60. So definitely a lot better there. A lot nicer to play it like this compared to 40 FPS. And I could also just have a look at if we switch DLSS upscaling off, so we just have frame generation on, we should hopefully be at least over 60 with a bit of luck. So I'll have a little ride around like this, so we're not kind of affecting... Frame generation does occasionally cause some image-related issues a little bit sometimes in some games. But it's a lot harder to tell, I think, than the image issues that upscaling can cause. The kind of degrading of the image. So switching the DLSS upscaling off should hopefully improve your, obviously, your image quality by quite a bit. not getting quite as many frames, but we're only losing about 10 to 20 FPS by switching the DLSS upscaling off. We're still gaining 30 to 40 FPS by just having frame generation on, so we'll still hopefully stay above 60 by the looks of it. Which, to be honest, in a game like this, I think like anything above 60 really at 4K with everything maxed, I can handle, to be honest. Having this just on though is giving me some stuttering. It looks like the lows are a lot worse. I've got a 22 FPS low, and I have seen the stutter in the frame time, so that's interesting. Didn't seem to get that with the upscaling on as well. Oh, I used the wrong thing. So yeah, dips down 64 there, but it still looks like it's holding 60 FPS at least. That's going to be it for this video, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Make sure to drop a like on the video, leave me a comment, and I'll catch you in the next one.